Dr. Phyllis Collins of DietHobby.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make tofu chocolate brownies. This sounds like a strange recipe, and it is. I found it in a diet book called Flavorful Diet. Anyway, it was one of the recipes that I found and I've used a lot, and I'm really fond of it. It's healthy, as brownies can be, and a really small amount is quite satisfying. Of course, it's low fat and low carb compared to real brownies. Not compared to spinach. Okay, we're going to start out with almond. We're going to use almond meal. This is from Trader Joe's. It's ground up almonds, almond meal. And this is whole wheat pastry flour. This is actually from Whole Foods. And we're going to add those two ingredients together. And we're going to add to them a little bit of baking powder. Now the specifics to the recipes are on my site at DietHobby.com. So go there to get all the details of the recipe. It's all written out there, and there'll be a picture of the food along with this video. Okay, so then we're going to mix this together, and then we're going to set it aside. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring, I have here a ½ cup of milk that I've already put in a bowl, and I've already got it started heating. And we're supposed to bring it to a boil in the microwave, which should happen really fast because I did it already. So it should just like reheat to reboil. And when we do that, we're going to add this chocolate we have here, 4 ounces of Baker's semi-sweet, bittersweet chocolate that I have chopped up, and we're going to add that. Okay, that's come to a boil. So we've got this 4 ounces of this chocolate, and we're adding it to the milk. And we're going to stir it up. Personally, I like the kind of brownies that you buy in a mix, like Betty Crocker with a walnut, or any of those mixes. But they have so many calories and they have so much sugar and fat that I try to find substitutes, and so I can get the taste without the addiction, without the craving. Okay, now this is melted up, okay, and break up and stir till creamy and set it aside. Okay, so I stir till creamy, I'm setting it aside. Now I'm going to take tofu. I said it was tofu brownies. This soft tofu. I use like this is a 12 ounce. So it's about a quarter. I take a quarter of this and I sliced it off, a quarter of the tofu, and I slide it in here. Okay, next I'm going to add 3 eggs that I've already separated. I'm going to add some dry milk, ½ cup of dry powdered milk I've already taken care of. I'm already going to add a couple of tablespoons of Hershey's cocoa, and here's dry milk, and I'm putting in here. Then I've got, how much brown sugar? 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, and I have a cup of Splenda. I'm going to first, before I put the Splenda in, I'm going to kind of, okay, now my mixer's plugged in, and we're going to mix this up. And I'm going to add the Splenda. Now when you add Splenda, be sure you start out on low. Otherwise a big cloud of Splenda will go in the air. Like a big dust cloud, and you won't be able to breathe. I've done that before. Alright, now I'm going to scrape down the sides. It looks like it's pretty well blended. So now I'm going to add the melted chocolate and milk. Okay, we do all this chocolate. on a diet? Well, you know, that's how I eat. And what I'm doing is, this is not a cooking channel. I'm showing you in Diet Hobby how I eat, and you can come and visit me and you can tell me how you eat and we can share that. Okay. Now the next thing, that's blended. So now I'm going to add my dry ingredients that you saw me mix earlier. The flour, which is like almost no flour, which makes it lower carb. And we'll mix that. Okay, we need to get a mixing spoon now. Okay, that looks like it's blended. Now, I have here, this brownies is made out of 3 kinds of real chocolate. And these are 2/3 of a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Yeah! Okay, so in the chocolate we have the Baker's, semi-sweet chocolate, or we have the Hershey's Cocoa, and we have the chocolate chips. And that's what makes it so chocolatey. And we just stir that around. And you notice the Splenda, there was a little tiny bit of brown sugar and a little tiny bit of flour. But really, far less than normal. Okay, now I had preheated my oven to 325, and you take the tin foil and make it hang over the end and spray it with non-stick coating, and I did that. And now all I'm going to do is pour this batter into the baking pan. And this baking pan, we're going to be cutting this up into 24 pieces, 24 servings. They're very, very small pieces, but I find they freeze really well, and I find the recipe really satisfying. It's worth it to me to have a little bit, and I don't seem to crave more, probably because there's so much less sugar than in flour than there is in most recipes. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll come back when it's ready. Our tofu brownies are done. They're out of the oven and they're cool, and I cut them already into 24 pieces. 6 rows by 4, 24 pieces. Okay, they're 95 calories, 12 carbs, and 3 grams of protein for every piece. And I know you're going to ask yourself, well, how will I store these if I can only have 1 piece? I'm glad you asked. Here I have another cake, a cookie sheet that's bigger. And I'm going to take this out. Whoops. Well, I'm not going to take it out that way because it tore. Wasn't heavy duty enough. So what I'm doing is I'm taking out individually these brownies, and they're kind of gooey cake-like. Oh, that one's got foil on the bottom. Okay. They're kind of gooey cake-like. See, this is how they look. Okay? They're tofu brownies. They're very moist and cake-like. So what I'm going to do, that is good. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces out. And I'm going to separate them on this sheet, stick it in the freezer, and when they're frozen, I'm going to come out with my press and seal, put it down, lay them on top, put it over the way I told you about storing cookies, and then I'll put them individually, and I'll have individually wrapped brownies, each one 95 calories a piece. Come and see me at diethobby.com.